This Target store is where one woman's fight to get equal treatment for her son grabbed national attention. In July of 2010, Randi Reitan bought $226 in groceries and then returned them. Why?
I shared with her why I had bought each item, who they were for, and why that person wouldn't want me to have bought them at a Target store. A number of the items were for my grandchildren, and they love their Uncle Jake so much, and Jake is gay, and they wouldn't want to have things coming from a store that contributes to a campaign that would have a governor candidate with the anti-gay views that Tom Emmer has.
Our video of her cutting up her Target card went viral, and soon thousands of others joined in her boycott.
That card was canceled.
Thank you for the UpTake for being here. We're going to deliver 240,000 signatures of people who are upset with Target for making a political contribution and trying to sway an election.
Target has had such a wonderful record when it comes to gay and lesbian rights in the past, and that's what shocked so many of us, particularly my family.
Do you think it had an impact?
Oh, absolutely. I truly think it had an impact.
How did it have an impact?
Well, it stopped a lot of the companies from giving. But also, it brought Tom Emmer's name into the press a lot, sharing his views on homosexuality. And it really made him kind of a toxic candidate.
And he turned to his friend who was holding the other side of the sign and he said, "It's Emmer, help me out here."
Republican Tom Emmer lost the governor's race to Democrat Mark Dayton that fall by a few thousand votes.
Mark Dayton is going to be seated as the next governor of the state of Minnesota.
It was a historic election last night.
However, Republicans won an unprecedented majority in both Minnesota's House and Senate.
In our opinion, it's not a time for celebrating, it's a time to get to work.
And they proposed writing the state's ban on same-sex marriage into the Constitution.
I was horrified, because if that had happened, I would not live to see my son Jake be able to get married here in his home state. And so for me as a mother, that was a terrifying time.
Democrats tried to reframe the religious debate. This comment, captured by the UpTake, was viewed by hundreds of thousands on the internet.
How many more gay people does God have to create before we ask ourselves whether or not God actually wants them around?
But Republicans in the Senate wanted the people to decide.
Allowing a small group of politicians in the legislature or even a smaller group of judges to define this issue would be unacceptable. And that the better voice of this institution is the people themselves.
The amendment passed the Senate 38-27, leaving the House as the last barrier to putting it on the ballot. In the House, Republican John Kriesel, an Iraq war vet, decided to buck his own party and vote against it.
This amendment doesn't represent what I went to fight for. This doesn't represent that. Hear that out there? That's the America I fought for, and I'm proud of that. A little bit earlier, I had this passed around. It's a photo of a gentleman named Corporal Andrew Wilford. He gave his life in Afghanistan on February 27th of this year. He hit an improvised explosive device while keeping us safe, protecting our freedoms, giving us the right to have this debate tonight. He was gay. He was gay. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot look at this family and look at this picture and say, you know what, Corporal, you were good enough to fight for your country and give your life, but you were not good enough to marry the person you love. I can't do that. I cannot do that, and I won't do that. If there was a hell no button right here, I would press it. That would be the one I press. But unfortunately, I just have nay, and that's the one I'm going to press. And when my grandkids look at me and they say, Grandpa, where'd you stand on this issue? I'll be proud to look at them and say, you know what, I was on the right side of history. I was on the right side of history.
Kriesel's appeal didn't work. Republicans had enough votes. That unleashed Minnesota's most expensive ballot issue campaign. Millions poured into Minnesota so it would not become the 31st state to ban same-sex marriage. Minnesotans United for All Families, seen here in this gay pride parade, spent millions, and Reitan helped them fundraise. Another group, Outfront Minnesota, sent her across the state to show a video Reitan and her family were in.
We were in a film called For the Bible Tells Me So, and that film showed across the state. We would go with the film and lead a discussion at the end, and we always talked about marriage in those discussions. I often would say that I wanted to dance at Jake's wedding, just like I danced at the weddings of Britta and Ben and Josh.
On election night, the amendment was defeated.
Someday soon, after tonight, we're going to be able to get married here in Minnesota. Yes.
And Republicans lost their majorities in the legislature.
We're still waiting on a few races, but the Speaker just called and congratulated us on taking back the House.
Seizing on the conversation that Republicans had forced the state to have, several groups pushed the newly elected DFL majorities to revoke the decades-old ban on same-sex marriage.
Hello, I'm Randi Reitan.
Hearings on the proposed legislation put Reitan and her family in the spotlight.
This is my husband, Philip, and our youngest son, Jacob.
As a gay man, I should have the same opportunity to marry as my 3 siblings. My desire to love is no less valid and no less worthy of recognition by our state than theirs.
The day of the House vote drew thousands of people to the Capitol. The outcome of the House vote was far from certain, since several Democrats were likely to vote against the bill. So Reitan worked behind the scenes, lobbying someone who seemed like a long shot.
Representative Loon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Our rep from Eden Prairie is Jennifer Loon. And Jennifer Loon voted for the amendment last time. And she's a Republican, and she's very much a Republican. She does the party line. Even though I think deep in her heart, she understands how we feel. But we met with her a number of times. Jake met with her alone. Phil and I met with her. Jake and I met with her. We had a number of meetings with her. I sent wedding cupcakes to her office one time, sent many letters over the years and cards, and just did whatever we could to try to really, really share deeply how we feel.
As the debate began, the chanting continued. Thousands watched on TV screens at the Capitol and online. Inside the chamber, it was respectful but emotional.
Let any darkness or gloom brought on by the difficulty and gravity of today's session be driven away with the light of mutual honor, respect, and integrity.
I am not a homophobe or a Neanderthal or a hater.
Love, no matter what.
Of freedom, fairness, and love.
This is indeed a divisive issue.
How often does justice come knocking? Until we open the door.
I will vote for love and family.
It's about a basic human right.
A child's right to have a mom and a dad precedes written law.
God is love. Love is the law.
They want their families to be valued. That's what family values are all about.
I do believe that marriage should be between one man and one woman.
It's about liberty.
Vote for freedom, love, and equality.
Do we really want a genderless society?
Now is not the time.
We are not redefining marriage, but I would say that we are strengthening the meaning of marriage by opening it to couples who are committed, who have the love, the commitment, the responsibility that we all associate with the words marriage.
Representative Simon. Representative Steve Simon choked back tears as he spoke.
Speaker. The moment when night ends and a new day begins is the moment when you look into the face of a stranger and see the face of your brother. Until that moment, no matter what time it is, it's still night. But at that moment, that's when the new day begins. I like the sound of that, a new day. I hope we can all go there together, and I urge you to vote yes.
being 75 ayes and 59 nays, the bill is passed as amended and its title agreed to.
Only 2 Democrats voted against the bill, but 4 Republicans voted for it. One of them, Reitan's Republican representative, Jennifer Loon.
So to see her actually vote yes on Friday was just amazing. The 3 of us went up to her office after the vote and found her. And there were lots of hugs and lots of tears. We were so grateful that she broke away from the party line and did what was right.
Do you think you had something to do with that?
I think we had at least a little bit to do with it. Absolutely.
One more hurdle remained, a Senate vote. Opponents were not willing to give up.
We bless those that have cursed us in Jesus' name.
There's a lot of celebrating going on today, but there's also a lot of grieving going on today. Grieving because there are many people in this state that do not believe that this is the right thing to do. Redefining marriage would further distance marriage from the needs of children and deny the importance of mothers and fathers. It'll weaken monogamy, exclusivity, and permanency, the norms to which marriage in our society, and it'll threaten religious liberty.
Is if marriage is about marrying who you love, where does that stop? Our statute has several other restrictions of who can get married, but if the premise is you should be able to marry who you love, that is a slippery slope.
And I just want to let you know that I've considered for months, hundreds of hours, I've sliced every issue as it relates to this vote, up and down and side to side, and I truly couldn't come back to this chamber as an honest legislator and cast a no vote on this bill.
Members, God made gays. And God made gays capable of loving other people, including other persons of the same gender. So who are we to quarrel with God's intentions?
The Secretary will close the roll. There being 37 in favor and 30 opposed, the bill is passed and its title agreed to.
Madam President, I move for a recess of the Senate.
All those in favor of a recess say aye. Those opposed nay. The Senate stands in recess. All right.
What a day for Minnesota. I want to thank the activists, all of you here tonight, and the thousands more throughout our state who worked so long and so hard to win this extraordinary victory. So it is now my honor to sign into law this next step for the state of Minnesota to fulfill its promise to every Minnesotan.
It's what we have dreamed about, it's what we'd hoped for, it's what we'd prayed for, it's what Jake has worked for the last 15 years, to see equality in marriage. So it was very, very dear that we could do it together and watch it together. I am so grateful to Richard Carlbaum for leading this.
Thousands of lives are going to change, and thousands of families are impacted in a deep and meaningful way.
Richard was magnificent. He was an amazing leader, and I am so grateful for Richard's leadership. It is a gift to me as a mother to see this happen, a beautiful gift. And it ensures that we can dance at Jake's wedding someday right here in Minnesota. And that's such a gift.